Today is August 20th, 1987, and it's Hall of Fame weekend at the Soccer Hall of Fame in Oneonta. My name is Bill Simons. I'm from State University College Oneonta, or I'm a member of the History Department, and we're lucky enough to have with us one of the members of the Hall of Fame. What is your full name?
Arnie Oliver.
And when were you born?
April 22nd, 1907.
And
New Bedford, Massachusetts.
in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Did your family live in New Bedford prior to your birth, or did your parents immigrate to the United States?
They immigrated to the United States and maybe about a year or so after. I was the first born here, although I had 4 or 5 brothers and sisters that were born in me.
You were the youngest son.
No, I have a brother 2 years younger than me. Good soccer player too.
And do you know where in England your parents came from?
Stockport. Yeah.
And what type of,
Manchester, near Manchester. It's in Lancashire.
and what type of community would it have been? Industrial or?
Textile. That's what drew the English people out to America to make a better living, because they were building newer factories here, and there was more opportunities. That's what got them.
And why specifically New Bedford?
Well, I suppose in my own case, you have friends there, or members of the family come first. And I think my father had 2 or 3 friends here in that textile business. And what they used to do, my father would come first, or anybody else's father, and he would get a job and start working, and they would leave their wife and children in England until they could book passage for them and raise enough money, and I believe they paid it weekly on the cup, you might say. And then they brought them up that way. And when a daughter came, she'd homesick, she'd send for her mother, and so to the entire family. Much the way it's going on now with the Portuguese in New Bedford. Much the same way.
Was New Bedford then had a Portuguese majority?
No. It was mostly English and French and Polish and Italian, but they weren't like it is now. No, not like it is now, because in recent years they've been coming in, and they're good workers and they're good property owners, and they like it clean, and they're an asset to the place.
And what jobs did your dad hold in New Bedford?
He was an overseer in the Quizet Mill.
And did your mother work outside the home?
No, she never worked.
Did she ever take in boarders? Other people from England?
No, but I had uncles and aunts that had boarders in there, yeah.
And did your family live in an apartment, or did you have a house?
Tenement house, and it was a 3-family place. I know that the bathroom was in the basement. I know there was no hot water and no heat, and not much money. I remember the rent being $2 a week. My dad told me he worked all week long for 9 Canada in the Kilburn mill. So I guess they had it kind of rough in the old days. Yeah.
Did you have your own bedroom?
I slept with 2 brothers. It was fight for the middle to keep warm in the winter. It was my father's overcoat on top there.
Did your parents have time for leisure activities? For
Have
sport?
what?
Did your parents have time for recreation or sports themselves?
No. And my father never was an athletic person. Surprising for me to say that, but he wasn't, and never played soccer that I knew. The only thing he told me he did was he liked track. He belonged to the boys' club in Stockport, Kansas.
When did you first develop an interest in athletics?
I used to be shacking the ball behind the goal mouth to an older brother. So that's where I came around soccer. And that's where I kept growing up, kicking, and that's kind of liked it. And then,
Did you play other sports besides soccer?
oh yes, we loved baseball and basketball. We liked it all.
But soccer was your favorite?
Soccer was a favorite because it was a skill to do things with your feet and your head, sort of look my no hands. well, you know, you get a basketball, you shoot it.
Right.
Well, all right, you got these. You grow up all your life with that. You get a baseball bat or a glove, all right. Like the soccer, you know, if you no hands, you got to hit it, kick it, put your chest to it, anything but hands. So it became a challenge, and maybe that's it. But we enjoyed it. Yeah, we enjoyed it.
When did you realize that you were an exceptional soccer player? That you were a star, that you were different than other people?
Let's see. I always had a big ambition to play for the United States. It was always there. All we had to do was grow up and get good at it. I always wanted to go to the Olympics. And so we played. When we got 14 years old, we were all sent to the cotton mill. On sent, but there was no question of asking you if you wanted to go to high school or college. It was, you're rich, you know, you had to go and bring your wages, put it on the table with your fathers, which was mine was $10 a week, and you get 10 cents on the dollar. So we got a buck a week spending money. I know the cigarettes that for the guys to smoke wings were 10 cents a package, and the movie was a dime, streetcar was a dime. So in comparison, we were happy people. And so we formed a club. You see, there was 26 cotton mills in New Bedford. Well, there was no radio, no TV at the time, understand. But sport was the only outlet for people. So they had the industrial league. And if you could play soccer, you could get a job. I used to say to my dad, who became an overseer, hey, Dad, Dick Feller needs a job. He's a good right halfback. Send him in on Monday. And this is how it went. And so we weren't working much, 4 days, 5 days, sometimes 5.5 days, and 7 in the morning to 5:30 at night. But the noon hour, the ball was pumped up at 11:30, we was out. There was a release there in the sport. And then Summit was baseball. So the soccer went on, and they had junior teams too. So we formed a junior club of our own. The boys hung around the corner. You know, there's always a favorite drugstore, candy store. My gang hung around there. And like me, they're all working in the factory and all getting that buck a week. But we loved the soccer, and we loved it. And so we played teams. Then we went into a tournament. It was called, a guy normally up. It was Junior Championship of Massachusetts. And strangely enough, we won it.
And how old would you have been at this?
14. See? And then 15. Then we decided to play for the state championship. It's called the Cup. So we entered the state championship. The club we formed, the dues were 10 cents a week. And when we went to play a team, I remember it was $2.20 for the referee, $2 for the referee, and 20 cents for the streetcar. That's what he got paid. So out of our 10 cents a week dues, you know, we didn't have nothing. We had to raffle off gold pieces, try to run a dance to earn some money to buy the uniform.
And this was the team that you organized yourself with your friends?
Yes.
What was the name of the
Defenders.
Defenders.
And so we decided we was growing up, we were 18, 19, and you're growing and more ambitious and playing better naturally. So we decided to enter the National Amateur Cup. That took $25. So we had to have another raffle to get us $25. So we got in it. And we beat 2 Scotch teams from Boston and 2 teams from New York. Strange enough, we found ourselves in the National Amateur Soccer Championship to be played in Cleveland, Ohio. And the treasury flat broke. Didn't know I was going to get there. So we had some sport-minded councilors and a mayor, and they got behind us, and some of the mill owners chipped in, and every time there was a soccer match, they passed the hat, and they finally got enough money to send us there. And luck would have it, we went there, and we won, and we beat Heidelberg Football Club from Pittsburgh. We beat them 1-0. And we were a bunch of skinny kids, but we know how to play. Then after that, see, one thing that's good about soccer, you don't have to be a big, strong man mountain dean, so to speak. If you got the skill, you can do it. Yeah? and you have it up there. Don't need to be big. It's the cleverness and the smartness. Outwit them, outthink it. That's what I liked about the game. How do I get by this guy? Everybody was a problem. In other words, you have to have deception. Outthink him, outwit him, make him think one thing, do the other, and leave him sucking out his mouth. Gonna go over mine on the sidelines. You know the game, you know what I'm talking about.
But you mentioned a lot of really interesting things. One is that the Defenders, unlike Little League today, where it's adults who organize the teams, the Defenders were organized initially by you guys, by the young people.
Raise the money to buy the shirts.
And it was only when you were going out to Cleveland that the adults became involved?
That's when the money came up, when they helped us raise the money. Still never give us any money, but as long as we could go and play that championship. And I played in a lot of games in my career, important matches, World Cup and National Challenge Cups and that. But that particular day, waiting for the referee to blow his whistle, it was one of the first times I had that, what do you call it, excitement, butterflies. And I kept thinking, for God's sake, kick the ball out, let's get out. When you're doing it, and I was thinking, scaring the hell out of me. And that's where we're going to get going. And anyways, we're fortunate to do it. That always was, I've been a lot of places, got a lot of medals. But that was special.
Because that was the first.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about size, as opposed to basketball or football not being a factor. In maturity, in your athletic prime, how tall and how much?
I was no different than I am now. I weighed about 140 pounds. And there again, you don't have to be Van Mountain Dean. That's what I like about sports. The little guys got a chance. It don't matter if he's shot. Of course, it helps to be tall, get up with a head ball. But you don't have to be big. Of course, we never was big, but it's the ability of the game where it's no other game. See, basketball, you got to have giants. Football, they got to be restless. But soccer, it's up here. You got to think it and do it, and you don't have to be of enormous size. You really don't. You need the skill. That's what you need in soccer. And that comes from love of the game, constant practice, so we never call it practice. If passing the time of day, you shoot up and I shoot down, pretty soon it's 30 that way and 30 this way, everybody kicking the ball. So that's the love of it, I guess.
And how tall?
I'm 5'9" now.
And so your formal education ended when you were 14.
Here.
And that was at the end of the 8th grade?
Yeah.
And that was at that time when most children of the working class left school in Bedford.
Mostly, I was no different than others.
And
I went to the night textile school 3 nights a week. After a long day in the cotton factory, I was striving to get ahead.
that was a textile school, business courses.
No, they taught you how to become like an overseer, a second and above the rank of and I was trying to get that, because my father was one, and he told me, you go to night school and you can be like me an overseer and you'll get better paid than the other boys.
Now, how long did you play for the Defenders after age 14?
14 to age 19 or 18. Yeah, 19, I guess, 18, yeah.
Now, were all of the players from similar backgrounds, the children of English immigrants?
Yes, well, English. First generation born here.
First generation born here. In terms of your opponents, was it true also that if you were playing that Heidelberg team from Pittsburgh, they would be the same ethnic group?
They were a different nationality group, and that was some, but...
or would there be some teams that would be almost all German, or some that all Austrians?
I think the Heidelberg club, I think they were mixed up. I think they were mixed. Right.
Well, when you played teams outside of New Bedford, then, that sometimes it was also ethnic group against ethnic group?
No, not particular. They were like us, a lot of English, and they worked like us in the mills, and they had to pay their share. They worked for you and all that.
Were the best players of the time, though, English, that you played against, or English? It
I would
was
say most of them outside of Bill Gonsalves, cutting on. But it wasn't strictly English, maybe because the English were more ardent.
and were most of the best players also people out of the textile towns?
Well, the professional team that came to New Bedford, 1924, I think, was consistent of English and Scots, because they went over there and, no one said it, recruit the players, and they give them money, and they would also give them a job if they wanted one. And that was making them up. It didn't matter. So, Bolshevik, some of them took it, some didn't. And this was really from England and Scotland that made up the group.
Now, did you receive money at any time for playing for the Defenders? No, strictly amateur throughout its history. And with the
You know the rule at the time, if you were caught getting $1, you remember the old-time athlete, the Indian,
Jim Thorpe?
Yeah, Jimmy Thorpe gave his medal back.
Right.
He fished some game somewhere and he got allowed $10 for his family. And that's what they do. So anybody with an Olympic mind had to watch out.
Well, what did you do when, for example, when you went out to Cleveland, money was raised to pay for your accommodation, hotel, for your travel,
Transportation.
but did you have to have a manager who actually handled the money?
We had a manager and a business manager. Yeah.
So you never touched the money then?
Never signed. No, never signed.
Now, at the same time that you were playing for the Defenders, age 14 through 19, were you also playing for an industrial team at the mill?
No, let's see. Yes, I was. I was playing for the mill, at the same time. Right. And after the Defenders won that National Challenge Cup, see, bear in mind the Depression. When the Defenders won that cup in 1925 and 6. And with the Depression, that's 3 days a week, the wages that much. And God, you gotta have food on the table. Bread lines and soup lines all over the house. So what happened after we won the cup? Soccer was big. In Worcester alone, they had with all the carpet manufacturing come down, talk to our guys, take 3 or 4 guys back and give them a job. Walking Construction did the same. So it decimated the Defenders to about half. And so we were bringing up junior defender. I had a brother 2 years younger, and he stepped in, and somebody else stepped in. So that year we carried on that way. But then I wanted to go in the Olympics, and I had to find a way. Somebody had to know about me. I knew I had the ability. I knew I could do it. But how? How do you do it? So my father had a friend who lived in Lawrence, Mass, and they had a league in Boston, the Boston District League. Naturally, it's a big city. There's bigger sport writers, and you're outstanding. You'll show in the sport pages. So that's why I went. For no money, we drove all the way back, 60 miles a week, every weekend, back and forth. No money, not even gas. But I was trying to get noticed.
So that your feeling was that if you played
In New Bedford, I would have died in that.
the Boston writers, sports writers didn't cover
They
it.
would have known me.
Now, in those days, if I pick up the newspaper that I find coverage of baseball games and football and basketball, in those days, with the Boston papers like the Boston Post and the Transcript, would they have covered soccer in those days?
Oh, sure.
So you became known in the Boston area then?
Yes, yeah. I played for a team called Montana. And I played well there. I used to score a couple kind of goals, hat tricks and everything else. And I brought my brother there and another friend, so New Bedford, you could shake a tree and find a soccer player,
Now, is New Bedford regarded as one of the great soccer centers of
Yes,
New England?
Fall River too.
Was the best soccer in the country played in New England at the time?
Yes, it was. Yeah, Fall River, Providence, and Boston, and New Bedford, and that, then about the Queen.
You mentioned Lawrence. Was Lawrence also a strong?
Lawrence was were right next to
Low?
Walman.
Over. Oh, so it was the same.
Yeah,
Pretty
same area, yeah. And there was a big interest in it all around.
So again, when you're describing towns, textile towns,
Yeah,
This is what the best-
yeah.
New England textile towns
Yeah.
were the best soccer in the country.
Well, they had a lot of, maybe some of them inherited the I don't know if I ever did or what, but the game itself, if you play it at all and you understand it's got to have an attraction.
And who attended the games? Did the middle class come to the games?
Yes, yeah. Because bear in mind, no radio, no TV. The only outlet was a sport place. And they used to pass the hat, get a nickel or a dime.
But was it just the people who worked in the mills, or would it have been the small business?
No, all the small businessmen and all that. Everybody was.
The doctor and lawyer would come.
Oh, there was gun-ho and all gun-ho and about school. Yeah.
Now, what was the, atmosphere like? What were people rowdy? Were they enthusiastic? Were they big crowds? What was it like? What was it like in a typical game? The crowd.
Well, they were big supporters. Yeah, and there wasn't what you're trying to tell me. There wasn't people having a lot of fights. The importance of the game was a big thing. If you win this round, win the second round. You win the second round, win the third round. And in my amateur day, the Defenders, we've drew as much as 10,000 people to a game and collected probably $100. That's about a penny a piece.
Yeah, that is.
And the club was getting rich. So then we sold tags. So we keep the cheap ones, show that they didn't put the dime and show them up. But what they did, when the hat came around, they would bend down and tie the shoelace and they would buy them. See, the dime never got out. But that was all the things.
Now, you began to play for the Woburn Tanners in 1926.
That'd be about 27, 6 or 7, yeah, 26 and 7. Yeah.
And you were how old at the time?
18.
18. Now, did you then stop playing for the Defenders, or did you play for both?
No, when the Defenders lost them 6 men, he grabbed the team faders away. That's right. Yeah.
So in your late teens, the Defenders, people from other towns recruited the Defenders to play, and then you went to the Tanners.
To give them a job.
Okay.
I went to the Tanners to get recognized.
Now, did you then leave New Bedford, or did you continue to work?
Traveled every week, 60 miles. There I'm 60 miles back, but I was still working in the mills.
Now, if you had wanted, could you have got a job in the mills in Lowell or Lawrence?
Well, I guess so. I never inquired about it because New Bedford's your own town. You love it.
So you wanted to remain in your town with your family?
Yeah.
And what did you do in the mill?
I was what they call a third hand. I started as a sweeper. I was 14, and then you keep getting more acclimated, and as you get a better chance, you give you a better job. Maybe you got $16, and you went darking and twisting, and then you kept going up, and then I got a third hand job. Paid me a big wage of $23.50 a week, and our English people they like their kids to work. So let me get back to Woburn. One day, coming off the field in Woburn, these three men came up to me and said, "Is your name Arnie Oliver?" I said, "Yes." They said, "Well, we're from the U.S. Selection Committee. We want to tell you you've been picked to play for the U.S. team." And it was an ambition and a dream come true. You look at a man that realized an ambition. How many people in life do that?
This is for the 1928 Olympics.
Yeah, for the 28. So I said, "Where are we going?" He said, "We're going to go to Amsterdam." He said, "When?" He said, "Next spring." In the meantime, the pros start on September 1st. So I've been playing so damn good in Boston, they came after me.
So I wonder if I can ask you, before we get to the Olympics, a few questions again about the Tanners. Now, even though the Tanners bore the Woburn name, did they play a lot of the games in Boston?
In and around, yeah. A lot of games at Woburn, but they had the same reporters, they were in there at 20 miles or so, yeah.
Right, and with the
Boston District League, it was.
Would you ever get to play in any really big parks, for example?
No.
Not where the Boston Braves played, or the...
No.
What were the high school parks? Is that where you played your games?
No, they would have a field, a regular athletics field, and put ropes up, keep the crowds running on the field, and the enthusiasm was great, and the crowds were great. I think it was a very popular game. Very popular, yeah.
were there, what was the name of the league the Tanos played in?
Boston District League.
Boston District League.
And we did we win it? Oh, we got beat in the finals. I can't forget now. We had a good team.
But you said there were crowds up to 10,000 that would come.
Yeah.
Did you play, so you mentioned that you played as Woburn, Providence, did you go as far as Southern New Hampshire, Nashville, Manchester?
No. It was like playing Woburn that played in the Boston District League. So the area played there. And then we about 10 teams. And this was where it was around New England, you know.
But you became through the Boston papers, well known. That was the main.
I believe that did it. It's my sincere.
Have you saved those clippings?
I got one clip.
How did you react to seeing here you are 17, 18, 19 years old. How did you react to seeing your name in the newspaper?
Well, I don't know. I just say, I know damn well if I get 2 or 3 goals, you're not going to get your name in there. I was what you call prolific goal scorer. I had 2 good feet and good head. I was forever trying to improve myself. And just to have a good head, that's one thing. But to get yourself high is another thing. So I used to try and jump higher, practice, stretch myself. And it gave me the bounce in the spring that I could out jump a fullback. If I got my hand on the thrust in the net, if he got it, saved it, right?
Right.
So this is my thing. I want to be a better player in all angles.
And what position did you play?
Inside left.
Always inside left.
That's because the other guys couldn't kick left foot. I knew to be a professional player, I needed the left foot. Every time we went to practice, kicking in, shooting in, I went on the left side. Wasn't too long before I tried to have it left and right. So it's home there. And that's what happened to me. I knew I had to have it. And it developed so quickly, it surprised me. And a lot of confidence said, well, in that left foot.
So you really became the equivalent of a baseball switch hitter.
Yeah, I know where the ball comes. See, the ball's coming to you, and you got to stop it. We call it squaring the arm. Push it over to your right foot. A defenseman tackles you, the ball's gone. But if you can use your left foot and you can smack it first time, you got it in the net. And that's the big story of having 2 feet, what we used to call it, 2 feet. If it's only a guy could shoot one, he's got no one-legged. Many guys that the other leg failed them because they didn't strengthen.
Now, what day of the week were games played on?
Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. Was it usually work at the mill on Saturday?
Yeah, the little time.
Did you get release time if you had a Saturday game?
No.
So this would be, you work half day Saturday,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
in the afternoon,
And
the game.
probably the game would kick off about 9:30, something.
Now, you mentioned Sunday games. My understanding was that in New England at that time, there were certain areas that still had the blue laws that frowned upon sports on Sunday. Did you ever run into that?
I knew that I ran into it because in the professional bases were Fall River, New Bedford, a rival town, 14 miles. It's like the Yankee Red Sox rivalry. Yet the professional team at New Bedford played Saturday and could not play Sunday because of the blue law. But just 14 miles away, Fall River could do it because their stadium, their field was situated in Rhode Island, which didn't have that law. So he got the big Sunday gate set. Now he drew from Fall River, San Mark owned it, and he drew from New Bedford. And there was big gate set on Sunday. That's how he got around it. But at New Bedford, they couldn't play on Sunday. We could play in the leagues, but the professionals weren't allowed to charge for it.
So amateurs, it was all right, but no professional.
That's what
Sunday.
Yeah.
And now you're in a position where you have an Olympic offer, but you also know the professional season is starting up. And what do you decide to do?
Well, it was decided for me. When they told me I'd been selected, it was a dream come true. I was 10 foot tall. But then September come and the pro start. And I got a call on a Sunday morning. There's a new team, Hartford, Connecticut, going into professional league. And the manager was a New Bedford man. And he called me up and asked me to come to Fall River with my bag. If I would play against Fall River, which was the best team in the country, like asking the kid to play against the Yankees, because he thought he wanted to have enough players there. He was a new manager. So I went, and I played well. After the game, I was in the dressing room. This man came to me. His name was Mr. McDonald. He says, Arnie Oliver. I said, yes. He said, my name is Mr. McDonald. And now I'm the manager of the Boston Professional Soccer team. He says, are you professional or amateur? I said, I'm amateur. He says, how would you like to play with Alec McNabb, which was Scotland's outside right? That would have been a dream come true. Like asking to play with Ted Williams, Joe D. So I said, I looked at. I said, give me your father's name and address. So I gave it to him and phone number. So that night, I came on, had supper, went up to the local movie on the streetcar with the boys. When I come home, then my dad said to me, I've signed a professional contract for you. So, Jesus, good God, there goes my dream. And says, I said, how much am I going to get? And he said, they're paying good money for a kid. I said, Jennifer, what's good money? I think it was $40, $35, maybe $35. So I thought, depression, how much $35 a week? Good for my family. Good rent, mortgage, food, trying to, so he said, I said, gee, that's great. That's great. But it was that for the gallery on the other end. But I consoled myself that there's nothing wrong with being a professional player and getting paid for something you love to do. So this is the attitude I took. So that's how I adapted myself to the pros. And here again, how many times you have to prove yourself, I don't know. You see, you're just a local boy. Arnie Oliver, born and brought up in New Bedford. You're not Sanchez, who played for Liverpool outside right. You're not Jimmy Brown from Manchester. You're not so-and-so from the Glasgow Celtics and the Rangers. No reputation. Just a local amateur. Don't mean a bunch of bullshit. If a guy can do it. But when they get the chance, okay, I signed the pro. And let it bring you down.
So that really, that even though you had this long Olympic dream,
Yeah.
the money was too good, the times were hard, it's an opportunity to help your family.
Of course, that one. Yeah, and private subscription.
Now, so you became a pro September 1928
Yeah,
in Hartford, Connecticut.
yeah.
And what was the name of the Hartford team?
Hartford team, Hartford football team.
Just the Hartford
Yeah,
football.
Hartford City.
Okay, and did you commute to New Bedford? Did you still live
Yeah,
in Bedford?
came in, we had a guy, went back and forth.
How many miles was that?
He said, how come I think it's better than Boston.
These are long before the days of the interstate highways.
Yeah, it's a
Couple hour drive, 2 hour drive,
2.5, yeah.
2.5. And as before, was it Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah. Well, you see, the pros, they could play Saturday and Sunday if we weren't playing in places like New Bedford. Massachusetts had a blue law on that. Other states in the American Pro League could play Sundays. So that's how it went.
Now, did you have a special field in Hartford that you played on?
I can't remember. It was a stadium. I think we called it a dome. Little bicycle guys go. What do they call domes? Something like that. Not a dome, but cyclodrome.
Right.
Well, something like that.
Right.
It was a field in my soccer place, and that's where we played. But I, as an American-born player, had a hard time to prove myself. So my dad and we drove up to my parents. My sister used to come, my brother. So at the game, I went in there, got stripped. He put the lineup in the dressing room. I looked at the lineup, and I sit on the bench. And after that, a good team. I had guys from England, Scotland, and all that bit. So we played Newark. We're getting beat 1-0 with about 15, 20 minutes to go. And we forced a corner kick on the right. And Valentine, that played inside left for us, went up and cracked his head and out. Said, look, and the manager said to me, all right, Arnie, go in on the corner kick. We're getting beat 1-0. So I go in on the corner kick. I would have mentioned to you I had a good head. If I could get my head on it, I'd have it in. So the corner kick came and up I went. And the first touch of professional soccer, it seems that somebody upstairs liked me. I had it in the corner. And just before the game ended, was working the ball down, and somebody gave me a pass, and I went by one pull back, and I belted that sucker in the far corner that somebody's going to stop till we win the game 2-1.
So it was like a rookie hitting a home run the first time at bat.
Right. Now, I'm upset. Following week, we went to New York, playing in the Polo Grounds. It's New York Giants. So I up in the lineup. I've only played once. Got 2 goals, won the game, one. No, right. I got a guy playing, I forget his name, but he had so many medals, he was from England. He said, oh, but I didn't start. So the score was no score, and nobody scoring. Finally, and then the coach looking along there, that now coach, was, all right, Arnie, go and send the forward. I could play, I didn't care. If I was on the field with the ball, I could play. Yeah, I'm home. With the wind in my face and the ball at my feet, I was comfortable as anybody in the world. Yeah, I was home. I'm telling you, I'm a lucky guy. Anyway, they went in there. Somebody gave me a pass through the middle, and I took that ball, and I was off like a scared rabbit. I did a stake and hit a fullback. Boom, 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 we big guys. Steady on, steady. Don't miss it. Make it count. Make it count. Hang on. And the goalie jockeying, you know how they are, like the hard joke. And finally, he came out a little more. He after me, and I was getting this ball. These guys are running back. Somebody upstairs hit it up in the grass, and it raised the ball. And by being cool and present, I put my boot under it, lofted it, well over his head. So that once again, 1-0, just by being cool. So it's 2 games, all right? That was on a Saturday. Came back Saturday night on the yacht boat, then playing Sunday afternoon in Tiverton against Fall River.
So here was before the home team you were playing against now.
No, it didn't come home.
Oh.
We came back to New England.
Oh, right. All right.
Yeah. So I looked at lineup, not on again. But this is how hard. I'm trying to tell you how hard it was for a local amateur to make the post. I wasn't Joe Bananas from Everton or Manchester City or Liverpool.
So most
You're a local soccer player.
So most of the players.
You got no glam.
So most of the players on the team were recruited players from England.
Oh, England and Scotland, yeah, professional. You know, real guys from the old country.
So if you're saying the fact that you were
breaking in
a star for the Woburn Tanners,
Yeah.
didn't mean anything but professional. And the name of the league was.
The American Professional Soccer League.
And now there were clubs in Newark, Hartford, and where else were there?
They were New Bedford, Fall River, J&P Coats of Pawtucket, Providence, Boston, New York Giants, New York Nationals, Brooklyn, Bethlehem Steel, and Philadelphia. That'd be 10.
And did you ever have a feeling that you wished you were playing for the home team?
Well, everybody wants to play. But my dream's coming true. I got something to tell you, though, that you're going to smack your lips to.
Okay, let me ask you just a few kind of minor questions first before we get to that. In terms of the finances, were you making enough money to give up your job at the mill? No. So you were.
I said to my dad, but a lot of these guys, all the girls they played with didn't work. I would leave them at 6 o'clock on the New York boat after a trip to New York and get the bus to come into Port New Bedford and go into work. The superintendent would let me come in at 9 o'clock. Great sport guy he was, you know. All right, honey. And my dad, he wouldn't let me quit. And his expression was, you want that job when your football days are over. And I said, gee, Dad, I'm only 20, you know. And I had to work in the mill and play pro soccer. And it wasn't easy, Mickey.
Were the other players on the team making enough money? The foreign players, were you the only one on the team who had to hold a regular job?
Yeah.
So here, you could be playing on the polo grounds one day,
Sure.
the next day working in the
I'm in the
mill.
mill, yeah. It made no sense to me.
Would you remember approximately how much you made that 1928 season?
The money?
The money
Yeah. What? You mean the whole amount?
for playing for the Hartford team, right?
Well, I got that. I tell you, I signed for 35. And what happened with the Hartford team, they broke up. The finances went down the drain. And so the J&P Coats Pawtucket team after me, I had played such a good game against them. They needed somebody on the forward line and it's lacking goal scorer. So they got me. It's like a DH for the Red Sox. But they got me. And I wasn't just a DH, I could play. So I would take a that to go and I played this. So now I'm in the National Challenge Cup.
And this is about what point in the season? September was when the season began?
Maybe through maybe November.
So the Hartford team only lasted
They didn't last long, about 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months.
Then they came after me and I went there. But every professional team was in the National Challenge Cup, which was a big thing. If you could win that was the championship of the country, and that was the glory trail.
Now, were there, when you entered the new team, did you get a new contract or a new bonus?
I went there, and they said to me, I was thinking of going to New York. I figured I could get on up there, And I went down there and said, well, we're going to pay you, I think I was going to get $15 or $17 a game. But being a professional, I have to take what was there because in New Bedford, the New Bedford League was just for amateurs. So by signing pro, I had put myself out of playing with my own game. And I didn't want to not play. So I took the $15 or $17 a game, which was all right for me. And that's when I started with J&P Coats. And I became tied for leading goal scorer with that team.
Now, were the Colts a member of the American Soccer League Board? And they played all of their games in the
They
city.
played in Pawtucket at J&P Coats. That J&P Coats, the big textile outfit. And that's the name of the Coats thread. You've heard of that.
Yes. Now, were most of the players in Pawtucket, as in Hartford, people who were recruited?
Oh, yeah.
England and
They were
Scotland,
Scots, yeah. Scott.
made enough money that they didn't have to work in the mill?
Yeah, I was Scotch in England.
But did the mills give them no-show jobs where
Sometimes the mills would give them a job where, don't get yourself tired. But
an easy
good
job?
game Sunday coming up here. Yeah, the bosses would be glad to have some athlete with them.
And then would it be a job where when the season ended, that these players would work in the mill when the season ended?
Yeah, they could work through the summer, see. But the season then, it started September 1st and ran till May 30th.
Well,
And you can imagine New England weather
oh yes.
with the cold and the snow and the rain and the sleet. No wonder. And we never had a cough or sneeze. I guess we got immune to the thing. But I'm telling you, I turned to 0 weather. That's damn cold. You're not wearing much clothing.
Now, in that 1928-29 season, then, you were paid per game
Yeah,
about $15 a game for the J&P.
for the rest of the season.
And did you get, when you would go to New York, you must have received meal
We
money.
got, $6 a day. Big dough.
Did they pay for your hotel room too?
Yeah, they pay for the hotel room, but they give you $6 you can go it any way you want.
Was that actually good money for meal
I
money?
didn't find it bad, yeah, could save money out of it. I used to give it to my sister who was struggling, married, kids.
Well, today, when you talk to professional athletes, they sometimes talk about complex carbohydrates or this much protein. How did you eat before a game on the day of a game?
I went and had a chicken pie. It's hot now. Quarter.
So you ate what you wanted, really.
Yeah, but we know professional players. You don't go and blow yourself like, are you going to run?
Right,
You know that.
right.
So we save we'd have a good dinner on the yacht boat or something coming home. Natural.
So you eat fairly light before the game.
Sandwich, the light before the game.
Sandwich, maybe a beetle.
Yeah, or a chicken pie, That's what it was.
Was this the first time you'd ever been in New York City?
Oh, still, put a quarter in there. Hot chicken pie. All these big buildings, they get sunburned up, sitting around, thousands of people.
It must have been tough, as I say, that to play at the Polo Grounds, go to the automat, the hustle and bustle of New York, and then find yourself back in the mill in New Bedford the next day.
And Monday was a derby day. Then we get back to reality.
Were you, by this point, were you tempted to move from New Bedford, or did you still want to stay with your family?
The family ties are strong, very strong. And one after I got my job straightened away on Monday, I used to go to the nurse. And they used to be doctoring me up with that. And he said, "You want to get killed? Start this fix kid." Wednesday, and the bruises are going away.
Now, in terms of what was going on in the country in terms of soccer, at this point in the late 20s, the Hakoah team from Vienna toured. What impact did they have?
They win that league. I forgot to mention. They win that league.
But they were the American soccer.
They, in my opinion, one of the best soccer players that ever came to this country. And Mass has stayed here and Americanized himself and played in that American Professional League. Well, they had Swartz, that's the right wing. Yeah, beautiful. Fullbacks, halfbacks. I have cause to remember because that's where I got my way, playing them. And it always seemed that when we played the head coach, for some reason I used to play the best game of my whole damn life. Score goals out of this world.
Right.
And the injuries I got were from that club. And I sometimes upset that get him out and get no worries.
So you think they keyed on you sometimes?
Yeah, I'd have been faster than dead. They really would.
Did you ever have a serious injury?
Oh, yeah, well, I had a broken leg, but one of the, or a gut, I think it set out. That was a second. I got that.
That wasn't during this 28-29 season.
It was after the World Cup. After we come back. Yeah, 31, I guess it was. Anyways, they broke going. Then they broke 3 ribs here. And 3 here. And I got a concussion here and a polar glass. And a New York Giants stickers. But bear in mind that the grounds were like cement.
Close. It's so cold and
What, 5 above? Yeah. And you go 5 above, which is my big forte, get nailed, down to come.
Well, what would the crowds have been like? I mean, who would come to see a soccer game in January? The fans. What, do you have big crowds even in the winter?
Sure.
Even outside of New York City, even in Providence?
Christ, yeah. They were avid fans. They would get a piece of dry wood and stand on it and be mud underneath. They wouldn't care.
Now,
See, in England, a lot of them, they went with umbrellas. No hoops.
So not only the players tough, but the fans were tough too, then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, they sure were.
Now, Hakoah obviously added a nationality group to the game, too.
Jewish. And it added, most of the pro soccer players were Scots, were sprinkled with English players from the first division. And they become, I never could understand the hatred that the Scots had for the Jewish. Like, never could understand that. And been in a few riots on account of that. And of course, I've got a red shirt, I'm in, right? And I never played dirty. I would kick that log on purpose. I'd go after the ball, I'm an aggressive player. I would have no. I've gone out with another guy, same way, cool up like me. So anyways, but they would have a fight, something like.
With their, specifically because of them being Jewish?
Partly. If the goalkeeper got fouled, Joe came in while he was playing with us in Providence, and one of them tripped him up, and then Joe got mad and went chasing him, bang, and then these big Scots guys come in and grab one. Hate the bloody Jews. Big lump, but can't get another one. And the following week, we thought they were Brooklyn playing. Christ, and saw these fans there.
Well, a lot of fans in New York City must have been Jewish.
Oh, of course, So there was out by 1,000. That was playing. So they said, now at halftime, we come back in the circle, back to back. Don't turn your back on. You get in that's one of the worst things. You get in what do you call it, right? And you get down, and that's when the boots come at you. And you can get seriously hurt, so don't get yourself down.
Now, was there ever a time when there was actually a riot in the stands because of sometimes at boxing matches, that the fans follow the ethnic rivalries? Did the fans become involved in these?
To remind me of the forward ground, there was a lady come dashing on the field. We was having a fight with these. And that goes, Me, I never fought. Anybody swinging at me, that's different, but I know I'd look up and she come on the field with no gloves, she broke it right over Charlie McGill's head. I had to laugh at it, and it was real Scott. Clyde, the bloody mind, and what the bloody hell was that in me, he says. So come back to back, and the crowds are coming, and the guy, and bang out, knock a guy, bang it up, put it back in the dressing room, and the dressing room, the goddamn doors are going, the cops are up there. Now I'm looking around for some goddamn thing. So I thought, I'll steal those shoes. Taught them what? Took one of them, little buddy. I thought, I'm ready. Anybody comes after me, I'm soccer. They left it.
Did you have police at the games to crowd control? Like
Yes, they had that. And
was there something, because these players not only were from Vienna and from a different ethnic group, but was there something about the style of play that differed from the English-Scots style of play?
They had a lot of the shot patchwork. In fact, in our mind, they took it too deep into the penalty area without shooting. In other words, our terminology was they tried to walk it in. They like to have a shot about 2 yards out. They go to the wrist, but you can't do that in pro soccer. Too many guys around will nail you. So if we got in a penalty area anytime, you can turn around and up, bang up, and you could have it in. So that they didn't do it. They like to get in close, and they're a good team, and one of the best, I think, in America at the time, if not the best. But they ranked up there with Fall River and New Bedford. Any team in the American Soccer League, they were right up there.
Now, okay, we have the American Soccer League. Was there a second professional league briefly in the late 20s?
The American Pro League, it went to the Pro Cup, I suppose, and then that was the end of that. You know what? Look at the league. It was the depression. Now, the price of admission in the pro soccer night is 50 cents. And the people just in there 50 cents to buy a loaf of bread. Now, how the hell you're going to go to the game? When had no radio, TV, that was a big deal. But that's what did it.
So really
it had a big lot to do with that.
So if it hadn't been for the Depression, the American Soccer League might have continued to grow.
Even further, it was really a successful league.
And up until the 60s,
it went quite a few years.
And up until the 1960s, we wouldn't have another successful American Pro League, would we?
No, I don't think so.
So really, the Depression created a gap of nearly 30 years in American Pro Soccer.
Yeah, there's a magazine book that tells about it when, what's her name, wrote about it. There's Sam Folks. Then he's like me, he'll then go there and he knows the teams and that.
Now, you mentioned that there was a championship cup with all American teams, and whether you were in the American
National Challenge,
the National Challenge Cup, whether you were in the American Pro Soccer League or not, you could enter
anybody could go in.
Amateurs as well?
Yeah, anybody could go in, but what's good as an amateur teams on then? Waste of time, effort, and money.
But there would have been barnstorming pro teams who weren't in the American Pro Soccer League, weren't there?
Well, I doubt there were too many. The only ones I remember was a real team to play.
So really the best teams were in the American Pro Soccer League?
Oh, absolutely. In the country. Oh.
What percentage of players would have been like yourself, American born?
Not many. Although on that first World Cup team, I know for a fact, I think there's 5 or 6. It's me, Bill Godshots, Bert Patnoy, Tom Floyd, and there was 5 of us from New England. Andy Oliver was Scott Keenan, that was 4. Jerry Douglas, the goalkeeper, that was 5. And I'm not quite sure about 2 other guys that come from Detroit, Bob Vaughn and Alec Bourne from Gary. I'm not quite sure it was Scots in that, but I'm not quite sure that they were born here. I think they were born in the old country.
So from what
I'm not 5.
So really, the American soccer was dominated by the foreign-born.
Oh yes.
And the best soccer was Northeast.
Yeah.
Although you're mentioning like Gary is a mill town, an industrial town.
Very comfortable.
So really, the area where soccer was played in this country.
When at the best teams, just like the baseball.
Although Hakoah did add New York City to mention too.
Hakoah, there were based in New York City, and there's all the I'm Jewish, you know, and everybody's waving their own flag.
Right.
And that's, they were great soccer players. So if you like soccer, you got to treat one of those guys.
Now you played in the. Now you mentioned that, despite having to prove yourself, because you had not only been a great amateur player, but you scored 2 goals your very first pro game, and then another one.
Yeah.
But you said now your great thrill and great was ahead of you.
It was. But, I made the team as a Raven because they don't keep goalkeepers on. Go to shooters on. Go score. It's at the point. They don't keep them on. So we started to win a lot of games. And my club was climbing up in the league stand. They'll supply the right side. So we had won one game in the National Challenge Cup. We played 2 games. We beat Providence and we beat Boston. And we're drawn against New Bedford in the 3rd round at New Bedford. Now, bear in mind, I hadn't been home since I had signed pro. And we were drawn with New Bedford at New Bedford. So there's a National Challenge Cup. All week I was worried. Tuesday nights I couldn't even sleep. Geez, I'm going to be there. Your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, all the guys you work with, you went to school with, everybody in the world that knows you're going to be there. Let's go watch Arnie strike out with bases loaded, So I was afraid of it in a way. I was wishing it would come and go. I kept saying, just play natural. Just don't be a fun, Like, don't strike out with a bases loaded. Just let me be accepted. That's all I was looking for. But so we started to play. Then I forgot to mention $25 extra money to win. So we started to play. New Bedford scored first. And then my club tied it up with a lot of fees. And it's the last 5 or 10 minutes we were pressing them. And Bobby Drummond had the ball on the outside. He went down. The beautiful cross came over. And like I said to you, I'm always running in and jumping. So if me and 2 fullbacks jump up on it, I catch it on my forehead. I put it in the park on. I'm falling down. I see the goalie can't get it. And I hit the ground. And I was full up with emotion. I looked 2 little tears and I rubbed. My God. Imagine that happened to me. I'm a lucky guy. Good things happen. So yes, I'm lucky. I want a chance. I want a chance to be doing that. I want a chance to do it. Not big. So the next week I went training at New Bedford. Arnie Oliver. It cost me $30,000. Chuck, you played me once or twice. Why did you sign me up? Tell you why, I was local amateur. No glamour. You had to have them from Liverpool and Glasgow. But there are some Americans that can play. So let him suck wind. He lost the bet for nothing. And I got the $25 extra in my waistband. Then we played with Don. He said, you're drawn against now? I said, sure, play Fall River. Now, Fall River, New Bedford, that rivalry. Cool. This is what he was thinking, the dollars. All right. So we went to play Fall River at Kingsley Park. Billy Gonzalez playing for them. Bill and I were special friends. We go parallel players in parallel cities and playing against each other from 14, 16. A respect for each other's ability and all that, and a good thing, So anyways, we played them, and I never forget it. It was the field was frost coming and the sun coming. It got a little muddy. The whistle went to start, and he plays inside right for forward, and I'm inside left for coaches. So he gets the ball, I go after him. He let me come close, and he gives it to his right halfback. Our left halfback goes action, who gives it to the wingman, takes it down, crosses it over, and the center forward, Harold Britton, comes on. Boom. We had touched the ball, and they had it in that one net. So we kept plugging and plugging. We tied them up. And just before time up, we were pressing them, going on there, and I had the ball. And they had a fullback, McGill, was the best tackler in the damn country. I didn't know whether to try to go by him, suck him in, and give it to my wingman. I thought, well, I better not try it. I'll suck him in and give it to the wing. So which I did. He was waiting for me, but when he made his move, I shoved it outside, left him cut it. So from that, just a goalie to beat. So we beat them 2-1. So there was more money there. I think we went to play in the Eastern Piles in polo grass. Yeah, we went to polo ground to play. Had we played home, I think we would have won the game, but we got beaten in the polo ground because of the way me. The big crowds, more money. Unfortunately, it runs a lot of things.
Then the atmosphere of the fans and the size of the crowd influences the play.
Yeah.
And that the home team is favored by the big crowd.
Yeah, and New York's a big city, and there's a lot of soccer enthusiasts. Of course, the Kentucky used to draw well, too. 5,000 was an average gate in the games at the time. So I suppose they were making money. In a way, they gave fellas like me a chance to play from the gun shops. In fact, when Boston didn't sign me, they went and signed Gonzalez. In other words, he asked me, but hate to say, he asked me first. I know he did. He said, he was playing on the Tennessee Boys in Fall River like I was Bedford Defenders. That's how we knew one another. Then him and I became great friends because we played goal on the same team a few years together. I couldn't have a closer friend than Bill and I. He was a great guy, and he was looking at the last letter he wrote to me. It mentions that car. Yeah, you remember he says that the final play against that car and the polo grounds, he said, we beat them 3-1. Says, I scored 2 goals. He says, the ever steady Arnie Oliver scored together. But he was a good player, though, a good friend. But that was some place to play there. There's plenty, the values that go in life. But he wasn't a guy that liked to work. He wanted to play football all the time to get the money. At work, he never thought of like leaving baby go to work. Late to 8-1.
So you think that steadying, even though at the time you perhaps had some resentment that you got to be back at the mill on Monday, in the long run, in terms of values, steadiness, probably helped you.
And the only thing, it did. Yeah, I guess he knew I was 19 about that. It's not quite 20. Yeah, I was not quite 20.
I know you helped your family out. But were you able to save any of the money in the bank?
I used to turn my check to my mother. And out of my wages in the mill, I got $5 a week, which was nice spending the money with sing the apple and knuckle at a time. We started to raise money. I think I was getting about $23. Yeah, that's what I was stirring at to get that. So the football money, my mother was saving it. And before I was 21, she had $1,000 in the bank for football. Excuse me, but that's where the terminology, it's around where I've come from, and nobody calls it soccer. It's put on a ball. It's football. So I had this $1,000. Jesus, that was great. So the guys that went to Worcester to play for those teams to get a job, Worcester, England was playing Worcester match. And they were going to go to England to play against. So they come over the weekend, geez, no, we're going anywhere. It's cup. We're going anywhere. I didn't go in there. We're going to play the Worcester team over there. Yes, that's nice. And of course, they said, why don't you come? You're playing pro, you got the money. Come and have a trip with us.
This is after the 1928-29 season?
Yeah.
Okay, so the 28-29.
It would be 1929.
At the beginning of the 29.
Yeah, that's when I went. I went in the summertime.
Okay.
I went in August. But, I went in August. That's what I did, I went in August, and took 8 days to take us over there and whack on him. But being born, you always wanted to see my cousins.
This is your first trip overseas?
Yeah, it was a thrill. So I told my mother, I said, hey, Ma, Dick Fulham going, so-and-so, it's going to Worcester. We're going to England. No, I'd like to go. I know there's money in the bank. He said, well, if you're going to go, you take your brother Ray, who's 2 years younger. I said, all right. I'll tell you when you get back. Sure. So it cost me $800 in my money. Took us 8 days to settle.
So each player paid their own expenses, and you played?
No, that other group from Worcester, they were getting paid by the Worcester team. They took it at Worcester, Mass, was paying Worcester, England. So whoever the financiers there, they That's how it come. I was paying my own for my birth, only because my personal friends were going. And it's, that's when I made that trip. And that was a long trip, 8 days, but big ocean. Never realized the country, the world that big. But anyways, you're looking at the guys had some big moments.
Well, let's kind of take you chronologically up to the World Cup. So the 28-29 season, you started with Hartford, finished with Pawtucket. Now, was it the following that season that you took this trip to England?
Or
was it following your second
I
season?
was playing with J&P Coats.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
August of 29.
okay, in your second season, you play with Pawtucket as well, Lon?
Yeah, I played 28, 29.
Okay.
That's right.
And then following that summer,
I was tied for leading goal scorer in the whole league. And the other 3 guys were center forwards.
now did you money increase? You mentioned at the beginning you were getting $15 a game.
Yeah,
As the leading goal scorer, you must have.
they didn't increase it all.
Well-
Nothing to do with it. Now, I was just happy to get some money for football. Happy to bring it home. Chance to help our family.
But that's kind of amazing, isn't it? Because if you were the leading home run hitter in baseball, Babe Ruth was making about $80,000.
Number one, I was happy being a professional player. And I never thought to ask for a raise, Never thought, they never thought to give me one, I guess. If they get away with it, they get away with it. Oh, very fine.
So did with the benefits, did you receive medical benefits?
What? No, I don't.
Any pension system?
No pension system because, no pension system, nothing. No, you get your wages, that was it. It's value dollar to dollar. I guess that's what it went. Because a lot of guys worked at J&P Coats to get them jobs. Well, I was always out of town, traveling back and forth.
And that was your own money going back and forth to
no expense.
to Bedford.
Yeah.
I wonder if we could talk a little bit more about that 1929 summer trip to England. Did you get to see some of your family?
Oh, yes. Imagine all my life I've been hearing about Stockport, England, where they worked. Vernon Park, where they used to go, and Stockport Harrier Club, where they used to running. My father used to be a runner, on track. That's what it was. And the B.I. Mill, where my father went. And the Sunday school where my mother went. They hear these tales all your life, growing up with your mother saying, your father, your uncles and aunts are all the same time. And all in different streets, the streets, one street, this week down Wakeport with Billy Fiddler's Fish and Chip Shop. Real English. So when we got there, that I never seen my aunt. My uncle said, "You ran to Yanni up there, Friday, Wakeport, a little fool." Yeah. So I said to her, you know where I want to go, Auntie? She said, where? I said, I want to go to Billy Thomas's pawn shop and be the friend of his Fish and Chip Shop. I want to see the B.I. Mill of my dad and my mother work. I want to see the largest Sunday school in the world. So my mother told me. Probably she said, know more about Stockport than I do. I said, what is an Auntie? I've been learning about it all my life. And they had a strong desire to come and see it. Get back to your roots. And I think everybody has that. So it
was very exciting then
it was great for me to be in England. And here all was English, the way they talk. You think I have a true anyway, I'm happy when I'm late. It's just like when I come down the out and I sinks. Because I know I'm going with people that I like. People that are warm. You're good people. And I guess that's what I do.
So this was the first of several trips to England then?
Yeah. So that's 29.
Did you play? You did play against the Worcester.
No, I didn't go.
You just accompanied them as a. So essentially, as a tourist, you essentially came as a tourist.
Yeah.
As a native son coming home.
That's right. We could see a couple of football matches, which were
Did you participate in any of the workouts?
Well, no, but I did that later on in my career. We went to Blackpool, and there was a goal post, and I'm a goalkeeper. And my brother was just saying, look at that, let's go see what it's about. So I said to this guy, what do you do here? He said, well, I'll tell you, Yanni, it's a penny a shot. If you're lucky enough to get one by me, you can have another go at it. So he's lolly-dolly in the goal mouth, like this, and bloody yanks each up like folks. I ain't gonna get it nowhere. It's on my brother said, once you make that fucker up, puts it down. Shook. I go, right over it, you know. Then I put it down, he stayed there, like he never stopped the one. I got tired and left me.
You were telling me before that just by looking at someone, you could tell whether or not they were old country
Yeah.
or American. I wonder if you could repeat that. How just by looking at someone, are they?
Well, that's the characteristic that's common there with either they're wearing a cap, that's how you can tell the English, and the Scot over this way. We're English. If you went to England, that's where you see them all dressed. That's how I picture.
And you mentioned the pants also.
Oh yeah, they had pants and the shoes that people seem to shine the shoes, and that was another tip off. Like, in England, and so
The old country players would have longer pants.
and they had longer shorts.
Longer shorts.
I'm trying to think what they called it. They were trucks, wasn't there trucks? Well, yeah, they had them long.
So you came back in the summer of 1929, having had a great time in England with your brother and the team, and played 1929 again for Tuckett J&P.
But they came, I played a while. That's what I did. Played on my.
Okay, now you led the league in goals in the 1929 season, and tied with who?
With Andy Stevens of New Bedford and Jimmy Brown of the New York Giants from Bedford. I just started Bedford. I was very twice.
Would you remember how many goals that was per season?
Can't. It was at least 30 or 40.
And about how many games did you play that season?
Well, 1 or 2 a week. But
So that was from September to May.
I used to get half of my ears, half of my.
Now, now we're getting close to the World Cup time. I wonder if you can. What did you do when the fall of 1930?
I went down to play with Bedford Steel Command to Balkan.
This for the 1930s season?
29.
29.
And so I went down there. Gave me a nice job. And they favored for playing football. So there was wages in the factory and wages for football.
So now you did leave New Bedford.
I left, yeah.
So you played 2 seasons.
I was 22 years old.
Okay, this is your 3rd pro season.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, about that. So when I was playing that, while I was down there, I used to work with my folks naturally, and every time I got my paycheck, $50 went to Mrs. Sarah Oliver, 80 Lucas Street. Due to that family striking out, you wanted to feel that they were all right. They needed money, they had some. So the mail come one day, and my father sent me a letter that the USFA had sent to me at Lucas Street, where he was little. And it said in there they would invite me to come and play and try out for the first World Cup. I get that. We're sending letters to prominent players throughout the country. Would I come up? All expenses paid. So I said, geez, that sounds like a damn good vacation in the tropics. I'll never go at that. So I wrote back, sure, I'd be glad to come.
Now, you had heard of the World Cup before?
No,
Did not?
no, first time I ever knew there was such a thing. And there weren't any because that was the first World Cup.
So this was
The very first World Cup games.
first.
Yeah, so that's why we didn't know about it.
This would be like being in the first World Series.
Yeah, it'd be like that, yeah. That's just the way it was. So I come home, I said, well, I ain't gonna stay down here and work. I'll go home and make sure I'm in real good shape. Never was out of shape, anyways.
So you stayed 140 year round, but 140.
Yeah, 145, yeah. I couldn't knock anybody over too much. And my job was to get out the way, be the forward.
Right.
Wasn't a defense player, although I could play on the camp. I never was afraid to use my weights. That's the terminology. So anyways, I came back down into training,
What if I could just, before, not break your flow, but
Go ahead.
just a couple of questions about training. Now today, athletes lift weights, athletes do additional running. Would you run 3 or 4 miles a day? Did you do enough running on the soccer field that's,
Oh, yeah.
so you didn't need to do additional running?
The only thing that I would, when I was training, I would just do a few sprints for your wind.
Right.
And the sprints too, if you analyze soccer, it's the man with the speed and the 5 or 10 yard bracket. he needs to turn the gun on net because he gets possession of the ball. And you got possession of the ball, you're out one room, you can't score it out. So that's where you increase your speed. You take 2 or 3 laps around the field, that's great for your win. You'll never get winded. So that's the only training we did. Sometimes pumps the bags, some of the guys can rope, but
Never a formal trainer?
no.
So you worked this out yourself then, right?
Yeah, everybody just did the same. Yeah, the trainer was there if you take care of
So it
yourself.
was maybe a little bit on the punching bag, a little bit of jumping rope.
Yeah.
No weightlifting.
No, wait a minute.
Was that for coordination? Was that,
No, it's not. This is all we needed. We knew keep in shape and we stayed in shape. Of course, guys like me, I wasn't drinking, never smoked, never drank.
well, were the fellows on the team local for them? Among other soccer players of your generation, was that sometimes a problem?
Some fellows smoked, but there were no drunkards. But a lot of the Scots guys, after I couldn't quite blame them, sold all day in New York and playing on the way to get the boat. The New York boat used to sail at 6:30. We used to have a hell of a time to catch it. And we had to catch it. They stopped in the pub and down the Scotch or something. I never was mind. Even after I never liked it, I guess it wouldn't bother me. But that's what they would do. And maybe it was to keep the pneumonia away.
Well, in some sports, and
Never lifted anyway.
never looked at, so the training would not be like today.
But no,
Most,
in fact, when I went to coach SMU soccer, I taught the boys the old-fashioned way. Now, we look down the field and see the other college team. There they are, jumping around, do this, do that, and exercise in the kitchen. Hey, coach, what are those guys doing? Of course, getting themselves tired out, so and beating me. See, you don't leave your fight in the ring. You see the boxer that trains, he doesn't leave his fight there. He wants to save some for the ring. So when you're conserving energy, let it go on the soccer field. That's my way of thinking about it. That's why I always did it. So I brought the modern day kids up that way. I not say I'm right, I don't say I'm wrong, but some of us fellas feel that they got to do this and they got to do that. They're half an hour before they kick off the ball. So their point of view.
so 1930 began with you getting this invitation.
Yeah.
What month was that?
That was in May, I think.
In May. And this was you had never heard of the World Cup before.
Never
This was
heard of it.
the first one.
Yeah.
And who was it that sent you the letter?
The United States Soccer Federation. Not what, it was the SFA Football Association at the time.
And
That's because of my record in the full league thing.
And who are the other people who received letters? And I wonder if you could tell a little bit about each of their backgrounds.
My buddy, Billy Gonzalez, Florida, and Bert Patnotch, Florida. Tommy Floyd from Providence, Providence. Andy Alwick, a professional from Providence soccer team. And Tommy Floyd was a pro, lived and born and brought up in Providence. So there was 5 New England guys. This shows you how strong the soccer is. 5 New England guys asked to come up and play in the trial matches to see who they were going to pick. And the way they did it, the first game was in Starlight Park, and the other game was playing Across, my old club. So they put me in center forward, and Bill was inside right, and then I played a while, and the ball came in. I know I hit the bar with a header, and I gave it pass for goal. And then you would play so much in the game, maybe half a game, and then they put another group in for another half. In other words, they were trying to pick the best player.
And how many people were invited to the tryouts?
Well, there was quite a gang because they come from, I think there was from Pittsburgh and Chicago and Detroit. But predominantly it was us guys in the pro league at the New England.
Do you think there might have been 50 people invited to the tryouts?
Yeah.
More than 50?
No.
About 50.
Yeah, the dressing room was damn full. And that's what they told us. You're going to be on your own ability. You're going to be judged on your own ability. I think that's some kind of word like that. But when you're playing with teams, it's teamwork that wins. You know that. How the hell can you hog a ball and try to show them that you can do this and do that? Well, I figured out, we'll play your own regular game. Keep the ball, and the best are going to win. Just go to win. Give it to the teammates, and that's what I did. And I suppose the other guys at Andy Brain, we was doing the same thing. Because he said after the match, in fact, we tied them one apiece. He said, you're going to hear in the mail who had been cut off the list. We'll notify you. So you go home and sweat the mailman out. Bear in mind, I cut my bridges behind as far as Baltimore is concerned. After I kid, I was going to give them the job. So anyways, I'm waiting for the postman every day. Finally comes and going to play again. And up in that, we had a photograph this back and played in New York National. Yeah, let's do it. So we played again, and then they cut it then. I think it was 2 games. I'm not sure what was the third. But every time you went, they give you expense money. But now you wait for the mailman, right? Because for me, I had my plan rate. I don't want to go.
So in other words, they didn't tell, after the tryouts, there was a period of a few weeks before they told you who made it?
They let you know by little. It took a while.
So probably a little anxiety while waiting.
There was a lot of anxiety because I was in between, not doing that and that. So one day I got the letter in there. I was tickled with that to say it because it said it'd be honored and selected to play for the United States World Cup. And
you were back into Bedford when you received the letter?
Because I quit that job and wanted to get in good shape. I wanted this trip badly. Here it gave me my chance to play for the United States, but I never had a chance in Olympics. Had to give it up. So anyways, and that's what I did. And so they sent you a letter and go get your shots and come up to the Cornish Arms hotels. So I went up there, call you in the office, and to this day, I don't know how much money we got. I had less time limited if I looking for. I can't understand how much money I forgot. But anyways, I said, he said, how you want your money? And I said, I want $50 a week, Mr. Every Monday, I want it down there. Take care of that. Says, you know, take care of that, means I'll look after it. So that's what I do. I took the few hundred. I said, when I get back, to take the balance. What the other guys did, I don't know. Some guys were married, So I guess they were, sending more home. I don't know. It is that closeness for family again. Nobody making me do this, but I want my family to live a decent life. If I'm making money, and I wouldn't send it. So that's what I did. And we came up there and we played these games, and then July 13th, we sailed for South America.
Now, how many people went to South America on the American team?
Much of it, 20. It's on that photo there, might be 20.
About 20.
20 some odd besides the officials? No, it wasn't 20. It was 20 players. I don't think it was 20.
So becoming coach and you had a trainer?
Yeah, we had a trainer.
A coach?
And a coach.
Do you have a business manager?
And a business manager and a manager.
Okay, so at least 4 non-players.
It was 4, yeah, at least. And then I guess we must have had about, I guess around 20 altogether.
So about 16 players?
Yeah, about that.
And were all of I wonder again if those of your teammates that you remember, something you might want to say, something specific about some of their backgrounds?
Well, I'd say Bill had the same background as me.
New England, Milltowns.
In Milltowns, and
First generation.
Their outlet was like mine, soccer. And whatever else we played, that was their back. And they were ethnic people. Those people from Azores. And back to the matter.
So you had some Portuguese.
Oh, yes. In fact, after the World Cup game was over, the Victoria in Brazil, I played in Santos, coffee town, but that's where Pelé's grandfather comes from. And so we beat them 2-1. But officially, the game went 1 apiece. You ever heard of that expression, home referee?
Yeah.
I know what it means.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Well, nice goal with this Santos thing, good play. And there was a few minutes to go, maybe 4, right? And we were pressing on. And one of my teammates saw me open and gave me a nice pass and I go to it, and that wasn't in. Then to come back, kick the ball up, get a record with us, game over. So our team's quite happy. We'll be down to the club. And the next day, we're on a train going to, say, a Fall River, Lake New York. Somebody got the paper, says in that, United States and Santos tie one of these. Overnight, changed his mind. Yeah. I call that a banana case of Omar Green.
Oh, it's a.
I could not, but this time of the year.
So you sailed July
13th.
from New York City,
Yeah.
and it was a steamer.
Yeah.
And you remember
That's Monaco.
And was charter, or were you one of many groups on the boat?
There were people on the boat. Thought it was chat.
No, there wasn't. Big coat.
Yeah, quite a good size. I forget how many tons it was. I never noticed it. Didn't sink. Anyway.
Well, this was your second ocean trip because you'd already done
Again, yeah.
to England. But this is kind of going to be exotic because you're going to Latin America.
Oh, yeah.
Different language group. Now, was everyone on the American team an American citizen?
All American born, man.
Yeah, okay. So in other words, you couldn't have had someone who
Well,
was a
we
recruiter.
had one guy, George Moore. I know he come from Liverpool. And Jimmy Brown from Manchester. I assumed that I'm assuming the citizens are making a living there. That's what their adopted country, so to speak. In your side, I told them born there. Yeah.
Now, how did you keep in shape aboard ship?
Well, they had us up every morning. We went right around the decks and exercising because, no chance for field exercising or boring. And that's what we did every day.
Anybody got seasick?
Jimmy Brown, the goalkeeper, he was also the 1928 Olympic goalkeeper. He was the most sick person ever my pleasure to come across. He was sick in New York Harbor because the boat was rocking like this, this way.
Oh, yes.
And the poor son of a gun puked his head up all the way down to the board. Never came to the table. And that's tough because to cheer up during coming downhill and home. But that's out of a long trip now.
How many days was
It was over 2 weeks.
So
Yeah.
by late July, then you reached?
I'm trying to think of the date we got there to her. Very late July.
And what port did you reach?
We stayed, first we stopped, we had one day in Bermuda to get something for the ship, and then there was one day in Rio de Janeiro to let somebody out.
Did you go aboard? Did you? No. So you stayed on the
We had
boat.
to stay on board. Then we're coming to Montevideo, which is further down, and it was so far south. I thought it was going to the tropics. I had white ducks, short sleeves. We were sleeping in the U.S. Training you got
Yes.
USA. Well, we slept in them. Right in cold. It's a long way south, see, and it's winter way down there, and about that far from the tip. If you ever look at the map, I know you're familiar with it. But it was cold.
So even though this was summer, it was summer in New York City, but it wasn't summer at the tip of South America.
And the trains going on, and I saw the picture. It was sweet at that. The picture of the group on the ship with a flag.
So that must have been difficult to acclimatize. You leave in July and you arrive in December.
Yeah. And now we played all winter, the guys, the pros and the place, and I guess everybody played. But so then we went with the train there.
Now the site of the game, the World Cup games, was going to be what city? Montevideo.
They were the whole city.
And
First time anywhere in the world.
Were the teams from the other countries had they arrived by the time you got there?
They put it up in a hotel called Hotel des Anglais. It's hotel for English. I think that's what it means. There was the Yugoslavia team there. And I don't know if there was another club in there. But most of the South American teams, what they do, they take their players and they move them up in the mountains some. And they cut them off from all family, everything. No family life, to marry Americans, go home. No. For weeks, this is how they train. That's their way of doing it. Of course, we didn't do that, but nobody's got it.
So they received more government support.
On the money, I'm not too sure of the financial money. I don't know how they work the money. I went per game. Each team got, I'm not sure. If They must have worked it out in the meetings, right?
Right. Who was favored to win the World Cup?
It says that we were a favorite, but how the hell can you favor something when you never had a World Cup? So the idea, home clubs, it's like, well, in playing soccer, the whole team has got the benefit of one goal in value to a player. It's worth that to stay home and play. You're in your own bed, you got home cooking, everything's nice, and you're gonna, let's go beat these guys. So the other guys, they're on the boat, bing, 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 they're on buses or wherever they come in flying in, tired, 4 o'clock in the morning. How are they gonna play as good as you? When you've been no waiting for them, they can't do that. But physical,
Right.
I know that. So that's the story, Don.
Now, how many nations sent teams to the first World Cup?
I think it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe Jimmy will know. I thought it was 16.
I wonder if you could, because our time is well short, I wonder if you could take us through the games that the American team played in the 1930 World Cup.
First game was I think the first game was with Mexico. And we won 5. And then I think they played Belgium and won 3-1. I know we played Paraguay, won 3-0. Then we were in a semifinal with Argentina. And at this big stadium, the opening day, it reminded me of the Olympics. All the teams came, all in uniform, with their flag, and walked around this big stadium like this, 90,000 screaming people, getting not a yakking sight. But that made an impression on me.
Were these fans the type that could have rushed the field and
Well, prior to the game, we had nothing to rush it for, but applaud their flag, But I can tell you, after we played, there was always drawn with Argentina. Now they played us rough. They knocked out Jimmy Douglas 3 times the goalkeeper. And the other left out back was kicked in the mouth, and he played with an handkerchief stuffed in. Just wanted the game would want a piece. I love a match going on. Just before halftime, this guy Ralph Tracy from St. Louis playing center, got his knee broke. I don't mean injured, I don't mean bruised, I mean kaput, broke. So I carry him off on a stretcher halftime. At the time, FIFA, which rules the World Soccer, Federal International Football Association, the rule was, if you had a player injured, you could not put in another player in his place. Now, if 10 men playing against 11, and that's high altitude of professional soccer, it's like the rest stops without a shortstop or a center fielder. You take your pick which one you're going to go without. You know what the result is.
Oh, yes.
So, all right, so that's how we went down. I often sometimes wonder, at everything being even, Eddie not got it. Have we able to put it? Some player. I often wonder, we might have got to the finals. As it was, we did damn good.
So you did make it to the semifinals
Sure.
of that injury.
Yeah.
Are there any, what are some of the other memorable moments of the World Cup that
Well, I said, let's go see the finals. Took us some motoring us. What do you mean? Let's go see. Uruguay and Argentina. You're never going to see a World Cup final again, you know why? So we set up. Some guy said, I'm going to stay home, hear the radio. I said, can't, it's in Spanish. Go on, let's go. So about 8 o'clock, we started up. Went to the first game. We had these berets with a Yankee flag, an American, and this guy's on a horse, soldier, and I said, Senor, Americanos de football, and tres. I'm no good at talking Spanish, but I'm trying to get. He was so angry. He had, you never see those comic things with the blazing eyes? Looked at me like that. And he's on a white horse and he drove it right at us. I can see the horse coming down to this. I said, jump. Everybody jump. Horse came down. I don't know which one of the guys hit him on the back of the leg, ripped his pants, and caught some blood. Didn't hurt him that bad, but it scraped his skin and got the blood gone. So I said, oh, bullshit to this. Let's get back to the hotel. So let's try another. So we went to another game. So I said to Billy Gonzo, go ahead, Billy. Tell me you fall apart again. What we want to do. So Bill told him. And this guy was the opposite. Hey, I came. See, senor. See, I'm glad. In we go. Found a seat, sat down. Now, we wanted Argentina to win for selfish reason to say that we got beat by the champs, okay? So all of a sudden, Uruguay scored an outstanding goal. Everybody's up. But we're not up. You think that could go? You cheered for your life. You didn't want to cheer to pick you up over the top of the damn stadium. So I'm like, hey, I know that, you know, swearing in American, what we were cheering for. So that was one thing. And imagine that, how dangerous it is. It's called, and they tough.
So that sounds like the crowds were very volatile and excited.
Oh, much so. They've been coming for days. Oh, where the hell they come? Over 90,000 fat come on.
Now, I wonder if I could ask just a few last brief questions, and one would be, when did you finally retire from professional soccer?
Trying to get the age. I think it was 37. You know, you're off weekends, and I was in business besides, married with one child, and hate like hell to go off every weekend, which was 2 or 3 anyways, and no, then the season. And then I decided that my last year. And the first fall came in September, and I had no contract to sign. I got lost. Did.
So you really missed it.
I did. 14 years up, signing the contract every clock. But I knew that besides that, you know, there's a saying in sport, Bill, youth must have a day. I was a youth. I went squizzing by some of these kids. Well, they'd say to me, young boy, was a day I could catch you. I said, I know. Now some of these kids are going by me. So that it's a time, you know. Nobody needs to tell you. While you enjoyed it, that's the time to get out. So that's what I did.
Now, you were able to remain active, though, after your playing days, coach.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could talk about your, after the end of your playing career, how you remained active in soccer, just briefly.
Well, I've been coaching SMU, the one that championship twice, and the glory level.
And about approximately what years did you coach SMU?
I'm trying to think, yeah. 30, maybe. That's been the 40s, I guess. 1,000. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
You won 2 now?
We won 2, what's the name?
NCAA?
No, there was a name to the conference. You know, I wish up, you know, and anyways, we did well. We did well. And I think that's one of the reasons that I'm in the soccer all the time. It adds to your contributed, in other words, because I never lost my rep for the game and always had. And in fact, I'll go to benefits anyway.
So you felt that you've been able to take your knowledge of the game and help to bring it to the young people?
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Fundraising, promotion, coaching?
Not so much that as the fundamental, what to do, how to do it. In other words, as an example, one of our fullbacks, he was picked play on the all-conference staff. So went training, and he said to me, you think you can get a ball by me, coach? Well, you got 20 kids, the challenge is getting thrown out there. Or I said, sure, with the ball now. And he turned in, I started running at him with the ball. But now, unconsciously, I didn't know, my body's swinging and swaying, you're falling to the hole. And I can't have the speed anymore. I can't beat him by outrunning him either side. And I'm going like that. He doesn't know what I'm going to do. And I got no teammate at one-on-one. In a split second, experience, his leg drew up and I shoved the ball through and went around it. And all the kids were laughing. I said, don't laugh. I learned something by that. When you're stuck and you can't go anywhere, take a fast look down. There's an opening there. You can get away. The ball through and out. At least they learned something by it. Kind of couldn't refuse the challenge.
Well, that, I think, is a good note to end. Your life is one that's fascinating, and really for people who are interested in the history of soccer, there's so much that cuts across it. But that's a nice note. It's one that gives encouragement to the young, and I think a lesson to future generations.
Keep a child in sports. Keep interested. He builds body and he builds character. I don't care what kind of sport you pick. But if he gets decent coaches, that's what he's building. That's what you're building into them. And it's a pleasure to see them all grow up, graduate, get nice jobs. You've had a part in that. That's worth the money.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil.